Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome a senior professional from the world of technology and health from Chicago, USA, Tara May. Tara, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Tara is the Chief Executive Officer of Aspiritech, a revolutionary tech company that employs more than 100 autistic adults. She's also the co-director of Neurowrx and a member of the Strategic Committee for HAAPE, or Helping Adults with Autism Perform and Excel. She has spent more than 20 years in the corporate media space. So, Tara, you've had a remarkable career in media and tech before Aspiritech. What inspired this shift toward neurodiversity and advocacy?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like you said, I spent my career in digital transformation for media companies. So,
Mm,
I helped them turn from print companies
mm,
to digital companies.
yeah.
And I did love it. I had a wonderful career there. But at some point in my life, actually, it was 2021, I had surgery that left me very close to death. I was writing wills and
Mm,
thinking about what was my legacy, what were my children going
mm,
to say about my career, and I decided I wanted something with more purpose.
mhm,
So I do also have an autistic son myself.
mhm.
He is absolutely the light of my life, and I'm very passionate about his capabilities and potential and about neurodiversity in general. So I started thinking about what that would look like in the workplace. And
Mm.
so to get to marry my personal and professional passions at Aspiritech was absolutely a dream come true for me.
Wow. Wow. Thank you. You speak about the ROI of kindness. Can you share a defining moment where kindness transformed a workplace outcome?
Absolutely. So I purposefully juxtapose this really soft, squishy concept of kindness with a very hard P&L term like return on
Yeah.
investment. And I do this because I think the two are absolutely intrinsically linked.
Mm,
So here's an example that you're asking for. When I was working in digital transformation, a lot of times the true barrier would be people's buy-in. If you did not have people's buy-in for learning new digital skills, for how to translate their work from print to digital, you absolutely would not have revenue and monetization around digital.
mm,
Everything would stall,
mm,
innovation would stall.
mm,
And so it really became about convincing the team members that this was an important transformation to make. So
mm,
at my first day of one of my companies, one of the editors came up to me and said, "You just need to stay in your lane.
mhm,
You can work on emails and open rates.
mhm,
Let me write my editorial
mm,
content."
mm,
And it was through kindness and understanding where he was coming from and the value he was bringing that I could actually convince him that we needed to be a digital organization for
mm,
our future. And eventually, he and I became friends. We passed that initial, clash,
mm.
became friends, and he became one of our most progressive digital editors. So you
Incredible.
can see that that kindness
Yeah,
had a really great return.
absolutely. I agree with you. Kindness is something which will always get a great return, but you've explained it beautifully. Thank you. Tara, now let's talk a little bit about Aspiritech. Tell me the founding story of Aspiritech and how did you get involved with this organization?
Absolutely. So our founders are two incredibly passionate people, as many founders are in nonprofits, a mother and a father
Mm,
who saw their adult autistic son struggling to find work that was commensurate with his intelligence.
mhm,
So they started doing some research and
mm,
they found actually a Danish company called Specialist Sterna.
mm,
And this company was teaching autistic adults quality assurance for technology.
Mm-hmm.
And so they modeled themselves after Specialist Sterna,
Mm-hmm.
created our own organization here in the US from their kitchen table.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward to today, we are 100 plus autistic employees with $7 million in annual revenue,
Wow.
serving 75 customers all over the US.
Mm-hmm.
I actually was able to take over upon their retirement.
Mm-hmm.
So they were coming into their 70s and really wanting to spend more time with their grandson in London. And so they began a succession plan with the board of directors. And after a pretty long search, I was absolutely the lucky chosen
Amazing.
one.
How amazing. How amazing. And good luck with everything that you are doing and will do with Aspiritech. Tara, you employ more than 90% autistic adults. What are some myths about autism in the workplace that you actively challenge?
That is such a great question. I think first and foremost that they are in the workplace, right? I mean, many people don't think of autistic adults as thriving members of a team.
Mm,
But at Aspiritech and anywhere, they absolutely can be
mm,
given the right supports, right? Autistic people are incredibly intelligent, problem
yeah.
solvers, innovators, and teammates, right?
Mm,
The second myth I would say is that autistic people, you know, can do the work, but they can't talk to clients.
mhm,
Well, every day we prove that's not true. We have a
mm,
team that's full of um, great communicators, great salespeople, doing great customer service.
mm,
So really, again, we think that's about the environment that we create to allow all of our team members to thrive with some accommodations,
mhm,
with supports, but absolutely the team members build this company every
mm.
single day. And the
Amazing.
last thing I would say, the last myth I'll give is that
Mm,
autistic people are going to be great at entry level positions and that's it.
mhm, mm.
At Aspiritech, our autistic team members are entry level, they're senior, they're middle
Yeah,
manager, they're senior leadership team, and they're board of directors,
amazing.
right? So we think it's really important to know that there is no
Correct.
limit.
Correct. Fascinating. And how does your model of employing autistic adults differ from traditional hiring and team management practices?
So a few things, right? One is we tear down the traditional interview model.
Mm,
A lot of times, the traditional interview model is set up for neurotypical people to showcase their social skills.
mm,
And that isn't really what it takes to do the actual job.
mm,
So our interview and application process focuses in on, are you going to be successful at the work,
mhm.
right? Rather than, are you going to be successful at making eye contact, small talk, and shaking my hand? That's not what we're looking
Yeah.
for. So that's one thing.
Mm,
Another is that our workplace is completely set up to make it an open conversation about
mm,
support systems, about mental health,
mhm.
and about accommodations that anyone might need,
Yeah.
including our neurotypical employees.
Mm,
We want absolutely every single one of our employees
mm,
to have what they need to be their best self in the workplace.
mm.
And we think that creates happy customers,
Yeah.
great outcomes, and therefore more growth.
Mm. Wow. Amazing. Tara, you've also spoken about psychological safety. What does that look like for a neurodiverse team?
So I first want to just comment on the importance of it when we are moving at the pace of generative AI
Mm,
and digital in 2025,
mm,
right? We are expected to learn and innovate and be constantly moving.
mm,
Well, when you're asking your team to do that, they also need to feel safe when it doesn't go perfectly, when
mm,
we fail, when we make mistakes. Because when we're moving at that pace and we're innovating, We absolutely are going to,
Yeah.
right? Mistakes
Yeah.
are going to happen. We are going to fail. And
Hmm.
so, what we want that to look like at Aspiritech
Hmm.
is when a mistake is made, when a failure happens,
Hmm.
there's no pointing fingers, there's no casting blame. There's
Hmm.
just let's lift each other up, let's figure out how to do it better next time,
Hmm.
and let's try again.
Hmm.
That psychological safety is so imperative to innovation at the
Hmm.
pace the world moves today.
Hmm. Amazing. How should HR professionals and recruiters rethink their approach to interviewing neurodivergent candidates?
So I'm going to harken back a little bit to what I was saying earlier, which
Oh.
is think about the job skills you need,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
If you're hiring a developer, a
Hmm.
coder,
Hmm.
how important is it that they be a great salesperson of
Hmm.
themselves,
Hmm.
right? Now, if you're hiring a salesperson, it might be really important. You
Yeah.
might really need someone who's charismatic and walks in the door with a great big smile and a firm handshake.
Hmm. Hmm.
But if you're
Hmm.
hiring someone to be on an assembly line, to do coding or development work, to do a deep dive into analytics, you
Hmm.
may actually want an introvert who can focus very, very intensely on what they're doing. So
Right.
I say, look at the skill sets for the job you need and
Hmm.
match to that. I also really think we should allow for processing time in the interview. One
Hmm.
of the things we do at Aspiritech is we provide the questions that we're going to ask at the interview in advance so that you can really think about it and be thoughtful about what
Right.
you're saying.
Hmm.
And that has been an accommodation that our neurotypical people have also been really
Right.
grateful for.
Yes. Yes.
So we like to say that by thinking about all kinds of brains in the workplace,
Hmm.
you're actually making the workplace better for everyone.
Hmm. Amazing. My next question for you is, how can companies redesign job descriptions and performance reviews for neurodivergent talent?
So again, it's really being focused on the job and the tasks at hand.
Right.
Another really great consideration for autistic and neurodivergent team members is how clear are you being,
Hmm.
right? A lot of times in the workplace, we do a lot of social nuance, right?
Hmm.
We talk about the compliment sandwich. Well, that's great for some people, but some people need really clear and candid
Correct.
feedback,
Correct.
right? So I ask people to think about that as
Hmm.
they're thinking about performance reviews and feedback.
Hmm.
I also ask people to think about learning styles and communication styles.
Hmm.
Some kinds of brains are really receptive to auditory, what
Hmm.
we're doing right now,
Yeah.
talking back and forth.
Yeah.
Others need visual input,
Hmm.
right? So sometimes you can create visuals or one-sheeters or bullet points. You can also record your communication
Hmm.
so that people with slower processing times can watch it again and have more time to absorb it. Or people with faster processing times, like our
Hmm.
ADHD friends,
Hmm.
can
Hmm.
actually watch it on 1.2 or 1.3 speed
Wow.
and be able
Hmm.
to absorb it better that
Yeah.
way,
Yeah.
right? So, really, it's about just stopping for a moment and considering all the ways that we learn,
Hmm.
communicate,
Hmm.
socialize, and try to think about it for all kinds of brains.
Hmm. Amazing. And how do you see AI, artificial intelligence, and automation impacting employment opportunities for autistic individuals?
So, I'm a digital revolutionary person,
Okay.
right? So, I
Hmm.
think of digital as a tool that we have in our
Absolutely.
hands.
Absolutely.
And those digital tools, they're constantly changing,
Hmm.
right? I mean, if you think about 20, 25 years ago, high-speed internet was coming into our homes and
Yeah.
our workplaces, and everything changed.
Yeah.
And then the iPhone came into our hands, and we literally had a high-speed computer that we were walking
Absolutely.
around with
Yeah.
every day,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And then COVID happened, and we were expecting digital to be in absolutely everything we did, from
Hmm.
food
Hmm.
to healthcare and doctor
Hmm.
appointments.
Hmm.
And now we're at another moment where generative AI is flipping everything on its head.
Hmm.
And my philosophy through each of these shifts is that these tools, these changes, these evolutions they're good and they're bad, right? They're opportunities and they're challenges.
Mm.
And it's really about how we use them.
Yeah.
So for neurodivergent talent, there's bad things that could happen. For
Yeah.
example, AI has bias built into it, right? It has
Mm.
human bias built into
Correct.
it. And
Correct.
if you're using AI to generate hiring standards,
Mm.
that is going to come with the bias for
Mm.
neurotypical people.
Yep.
So I say, don't be afraid of it, but watch out for it, right? Think
Mm.
about the bad things that might come.
Mm.
Also think about the opportunities.
Mm.
There's AI out there that takes excellent notes during meetings, right?
Yeah.
People are starting to use it everywhere. Well,
Mm.
that's great for neurodivergent people who struggle with executive functioning.
Mm.
There's also AI that can read the social cues in
Yeah.
meetings and
Mm.
can tell you someone is feeling angry, someone is feeling upset. This person is
Mm.
really excited by what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, that could be great for autistic
Correct.
people who struggle to read
Absolutely.
social cues.
Correct.
So
Correct. What a
look for
great
the
response.
opportunities, look for the
Yeah.
challenges, and be aware of all of them.
Wow. What a great response. Thank you for explaining it so well. Tara, let's now move to the work that you do with HAAPE and Neurowrx. How has your work with these organizations expanded your understanding of global neurodiversity advocacy?
Well, I tell you, every day I learn something
Yeah.
in this world. Absolutely every day.
Mm.
And one of my favorite things about being part of Neurowrx is that we really truly are a global organization. So we
Mm.
have members from India, we have members from Latin America, we have members from Europe, we have
Mm.
members from the Middle East. And every country in the world is at a different point in their trajectory
Mm.
of understanding autism, neurodiversity, how these skills translate to the workplace and
Mm.
employment, how they're supporting their children who are being diagnosed.
Mm.
But I think what inspires me every day is that every organization, every country, they want to do it better,
Mm.
want to serve their autistic people well. And sure, at different points in the journey,
Yeah.
right? But how amazing to want better for every kind of brain in
Amazing.
their country.
Yeah. Amazing. Tara, I have time for two more questions for you. How do you think schools and universities can better prepare autistic individuals for the working world?
So I think K through 12 is doing a fantastic job. I have a son myself. He
Mm.
is in ninth grade here in the US, and schools have done so much
Hmm.
to add in support systems and different accommodation processes and IEPs to support our autistic children and integrate them into the classrooms and into the educational
Yeah.
experience. It's incredible.
Mm.
And then after 12th grade, it really all falls off, right?
Mm.
So at Aspiritech, we're working with colleges, universities, higher education partners to think about what do autistic people need after that high school graduation comes, after that
Mm.
diploma is handed to them.
Yeah.
And really, there are still huge gaps
Mm.
for the employment experience,
Mm.
right? So I would say it's less about what do the schools do and
Mm.
more about what do the employers do to
Mm.
make sure that those same success systems are in place
Yeah.
after the diploma, right?
Mm.
Um, and one thing I will say about the education experience is that for our neurodivergent children, it's often set up from a deficit perspective. What
Yeah.
do you need to work on? What do you need to be better at?
Mm.
And what we need is confident autistic adults and
Correct.
confident neurodivergent adults
Yeah.
who understand their worth and their talent and their strengths that they bring to the workplace.
Mm.
And so we're constantly working to improve on coming at things from a strengths-based perspective.
Mm.
What do you offer? What is your value? And how do we build that confidence and self-esteem? Because
Right.
truly, that's what matters in the
Mm.
workplace.
Incredible. Wow. And my last question for you, Tara. What gives you hope about the future of work for neurodivergent professionals?
Oh my goodness, what a wonderful question. There are so many things that give me hope, but I
Mm,
think the biggest is the young people who are
mm,
demanding a new kind of workplace. They want to be allowed to be happy
mhm,
at home and at work, and they are demanding the support systems that allow that.
mm.
And I think the truth of it is, we have one life. We have one life, and
Absolutely.
work is such a huge part of that life. It
Mm,
allows us to put food on our tables and a roof over our heads, but it also allows us to showcase our value
mhm,
and the identity that we want to bring to the world.
mm.
So let's make work joyful.
Yeah, yeah. And on that note, I just want to say, Tara, what a fabulous conversation this has been. You know, you've explained so much about autism, about the work that you are doing through Aspiritech, and you've also explained about the kind of work that's being done for neurodivergent adults. Um, and I think the very powerful message is look at how we can be absolutely normal in looking at what opportunities we can provide to any set of individuals. And once the individuals have those opportunities, then the world opens up for everyone. Thank you again for
Absolutely.
speaking to me, and good luck to you.
Thank you for the wonderful questions.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the brand called You.